golden age of America. That's what we have to have.
Republican Donald Trump has claimed victory in the 2024 presidential contest after Fox News projected that he had defeated his Democratic opponent, Kamala Harris. His win would cap a stunning political comeback 4 years after he left the White House. He spoke in the early hours of Wednesday at a West Palm Beach, Florida convention center.
This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate.
In Washington, D.C., Harris did not speak to her supporters, who had gathered at her alma mater, Howard University. The vice president's campaign co-chair told the crowd Harris would speak publicly on Wednesday. Other news outlets had yet to call the race for Trump early Wednesday, but he already appeared to be on the verge of winning after capturing the battleground states of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia, and holding leads in the other four, according to Edison Research. Reuters reporter Andy Sullivan explains.
In the end, it wasn't particularly close. Donald Trump easily winning the states he needs to recapture the presidency, return to the White House in January, appearing to clinch it with a victory in Pennsylvania.
We have taken back control of the Senate.
Trump also will have the Senate on his side. His Republicans won back control of the Senate. That means he's going to get the appointments he needs for key posts in his administration. And think about if there's another Supreme Court seat that opens up, he'll be in a position to fill that as well. The main story here appears to be inflation in the economy. Voters clearly upset over this topic and holding it against the Democrats who are in charge while we saw that real sharp spike in inflation post-COVID. Other issues, abortion rights, concern over democracy, that sort of stuff that Democrats thought would work for them, clearly taking a back seat.
Trump went into Election Day with a 50-50 chance of reclaiming the White House, a remarkable turnaround from January 6, 2021, when many pundits pronounced his political career to be over. That day, a mob of his supporters stormed Congress in a violent attempt to overturn the results of the 2020 election. In 2024, Trump picked up more support from Hispanics, traditionally Democratic voters. He also won among lower-income households that have keenly felt the sting of inflation since the last presidential election in 2020, according to exit polls from Edison.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fired his defense minister on Tuesday, claiming he'd lost trust in the man overseeing Israel's military operations amid bloody conflicts in Gaza and Lebanon. In a video, Netanyahu said differences between him and Yoav Gallant affected management of the war and crept into public. He said their enemies were aware of and enjoyed the disagreements. The announcement sparked protests in the streets by Israelis furious with the prime minister. And for many protesters, they'd been here before. Netanyahu tried to sack Gallant last year, before the conflict in Gaza, only to reverse that decision in the face of hundreds of thousands of demonstrators. Gallant, in a brief statement posted on X, said, quote, "The security of the State of Israel was and will always remain the mission of my life." Gallant, a former naval commando, rose to become one of the most senior commanders in the vaunted Israeli military. He became a key figure in Netanyahu's war cabinet following the October 7, 2023 attack on Israel by Hamas-led militants from the Gaza Strip. That rampage, which by Israeli tallies killed 1,200 people and saw more than 250 captives taken back to Gaza, sparked a massive Israeli air and ground operation that has killed more than 43,000 Palestinians in more than a year of bloodshed. Gallant has worn only black since the fighting erupted and said he feels as if the hostages are his own children. At the outset of the war, Gallant warned that the price Gaza would pay, quote, "will change reality for generations," and called the fight a battle against, quote, "human
These are ad hoc measures. What we have been requesting for repeatedly, we need a sustained medevac outside Gaza, a better organized, sustained medevac. So we estimate that approximately between 12 and 14,000 critical patients need to be medevac. Half of them probably trauma-related, etc., all the serious trauma cases, think amputations, spinal cord injuries, burns, etc. We cannot continue the way we do now. We need medical corridors, and the first medical corridors we have repeatedly requested to be restored is the traditional referral pathway from Gaza to East Jerusalem and the West Bank. And the hospitals there are ready. A second medical corridor to Egypt should be opened again, and maybe to Jordan. And from there, when other countries are willing to receive patients, can go to other.
Spanish military
areas.
units are searching for bodies in rivers in the country's east. Local officials reported on Tuesday that at least 89 people are still missing after the region's deadly floods. The count includes only those reported missing by family who provided information and DNA. More missing people may still be unreported. More than 200 people were confirmed to have died last week after heavy rains caused rivers to overflow, flooding suburbs south of Valencia and sweeping away cars and bridges, and flooding homes and parking areas. The court said coroners have done hundreds of autopsies, but many victims have yet to be identified. The Science Ministry announced on Tuesday that a research vessel will arrive in Valencia on November 9th to assist in the search. It said the vessel can capture detailed images of the seafloor and reach difficult areas. Some think the missing may have been carried out to the sea. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said he is setting aside 10.6 billion euros, or about $11.6 billion, to help victims. The aid includes money for small businesses and freelancers, billions of